love having a lead-in of Pink coming into the show today, which is fantastic. Thank you, CNN. You're joining us here on the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour. I'm Tom Burton, the orthopedic director for Providence Holy Cross Medical Center and the director of orthopedics and sports medicine for the Southern California region. And you're joining us here on 1220 AM KHTS on 98.1 FM. And if you're really on top of things, you're really catching us on the app, which you can pick up for your Android and your iPhone as well. Please make sure you have that, because not only does that keep you informed of what's going on while you're in the Valley, but when you leave the Valley or go anywhere in the world, you're going to be able to pick up and see what's going on locally here in the Santa Clarita Valley through KHTS. And, before we ever even start the show, have to thank KHTS for giving us this opportunity to be on every month. It's our ability to be able to bring Holy Cross into the Providence St. Joseph's Health System to Santa Clarita in this forum just allows us to be able to inform the public so that way they can make great decisions as they start moving forward with their own care. So, and we would like to be a part of that care, and we are actually a part of that care. At Holy Cross, not only are greater than 30% of our employees Santa Clarita Valley residents, but more than 30% of our patients are actually coming from the Santa Clarita Valley and coming down into the north end of the San Fernando Valley, or we'd like to call it Santa Clarita adjacent, to be able to receive their care. We've recognized this. Our administration, our executive team recognizes this, and so because of that, we've actually extended Holy Cross's services into the Santa Clarita Valley, not only just with our Providence Medical Institute and having physicians available, but also with our friends and our partners with City of Hope, which you can find locally, with Children's Hospital LA, and with our partnership with EXER, Urgent Care Board, staffed solely with board-certified emergency room physicians. So, the combination of all of these is allowing Holy Cross and Providence to be able to step into the Santa Clarita Valley and be able to deliver higher level care to the Santa Clarita Valley residents that normally they would have had to leave the Valley, maybe leave family in order to be able to get that care. And so that type of convenience will hopefully allow people to be able to receive the care that they want in a more immediate fashion, and we're glad to be able to do this. Now, Holy Cross itself, we're part of the Providence St. Joseph's Health System. Now, we were talking Providence Health System not only a few months ago, but now we have joined forces with Providence St. Joe's. Not only are we here in Southern California, Oregon, Washington, and Montana, but we've actually extended even into the Northern California region as well as into Texas. So we're about 51 hospitals now, and I broke out some of the numbers. We appreciate our marketing team over at Providence to be able to give us this. 114,000 caregivers. Okay, so 114,000 employees, 24,000 physicians are used to help care for all of our patients. 38,000 nurses. We are one of the top employers of nurses. And Holy Cross itself, and something near and dear to me is, we do about 700 total joint replacements. We're doing well over 1,400 orthopedic procedures a year. We're very, very busy with that. And then one of the most astonishing pieces I just heard is our emergency room will see 100,000 patients every year. That's 300 patients a day. And our patient satisfaction scores continue to go up to a point where we're approaching the 70%, which is unheard of for an emergency room visit. So we're extremely excited at the fact that we are having such great success in our emergency room. Hats off to that group, because they're actually delivering an unbelievable care as a level 2 trauma center, which basically means if you need an emergency room due to a trauma and you're within from Antelope Valley, the entrance in Antelope Valley, all the way down to the Santa Monica Mountains, as far-reaching as the most eastern part of Simi Valley, all the way out to San Gabriel, you're coming to Holy Cross if there's a trauma, which is just tremendous. So Holy Cross itself, we've been around since '61. We've endured a couple of earthquakes. We've been rebuilt a couple of times. So we continue to grow and continue to be from just a general community health and hospital system to almost the ability to deliver regionalized care, and in certain cases, what they call tertiary care, being able to handle cases that normally would have to get farmed out to university level health systems because of the difficulty. We are now beginning to be able to keep some of those. We had the Igbalier brothers actually on, and Dr. Bobby Igbalier was able to go over some of the hepatobiliary things, pancreas and liver, that they're capable of doing now that used to have to get shipped out. And our neonatal ICU is in full force, and that is allowing our babies now to stay in the hospital with their moms, okay, and with their families. Where before, if there was any complications, those babies were having to be sent to one of the local hospitals while the mother stayed at the hospital at Holy Cross. And so we're able to keep families together, which brings us to an initiative that we've been working on. We need to expand our, what they call it the neonatal ICU or NICU. We need to expand our NICU. We need more beds. We have occasionally in certain months where we have full capacity in our NICU, and we have more babies that are required to be admitted, that we have had to separate the moms and the babies, and that we've had to send them to some of the other facilities. And we would prefer not to have to be able to do that for our family's sake. And so we are going to be regularly working with Providence and the SCV, which is part of our foundation, but it's only Santa Clarita Valley members. And so it's people, residents, employees, and people who have a passion towards being able to deliver the best of care to our patients at Providence Holy Cross, so that we are pretty frequently, about every 3 or 4 months, going to be doing a variety of different events, more boutique events, something that's a little bit more intimate, things where you're only going to have a few, maybe 60 people, 70 people around, so that way we can have those great conversations, introduce the programs, introduce the needs, and then introduce how residents can actually become involved. Yes, do we need money? Of course we need money, but we also need assistance. We encourage our Santa Clarita Valley residents to become more involved and to be a part of something that could be so great and have that sense of accomplishment, knowing that you're part of that. So we're going to be actually doing an event tomorrow, and we appreciate KHTS for sponsoring that event for us, which is great. You can actually contact our foundation office if though I know they closed RSVPs actually a couple weeks ago. Oh my goodness, and I had the number sitting right here too. But I am fairly certain that if there is a want, a desire, and a need to be a part of this event tomorrow at 6 p.m., there's going to be a number of dignitaries speaking on behalf of the hospital, on behalf of the NICU, and as well as on behalf of Santa Clarita Valley. Give Holy Cross Foundation a call, 818-496-4600, and ask that you would like to be able to be a part of this event. In my book, I would say you're never too late. Definitely give them a call. Let them know that you're coming, and it should be a wonderful, wonderful evening that we will get to have the opportunity to spend a couple hours with Holy Cross, with Providence and the SCV, and learn more on how we can be able to help. So I encourage everyone to be able to do that. And, what a great day today, too. One, it's not too hot out, thankfully, because all of our kids are now getting back to school. I think Santa Clarita returns on Thursday. It's tomorrow, so it's starting to get warm. I know all of our athletes at the high school level are in full function, including down in the San Fernando Valley, which is why we are lucky to be joined today, because Providence Holy Cross and Providence Southern California region has initiated their sports medicine program, their community athletic training program. Perhaps you might have read in the LA Times on Sunday that there was a nice story by Eric Sonheimer, who has really owned the high school level sports reporting for as long as I can remember, back from the 80s going forward. And Mr. Sonheimer was very kind in introducing our athletic training program, where Providence, Southern California region, and the orthopedic sports medicine program, we are actually employing 6 athletic trainers, 2 of which are here. We're going to meet them very shortly. And we are going to be deploying them to specific schools within the valley and to deliver full-time care. All right. And when we say full-time care, They're there to take care of athletes, to treat, do rehabilitation, practice coverage, game coverage, injury assessment, triaging athletes who need further medical workup, working with the Providence physicians and the community physicians to assure, wow, sorry about that, to assure that all of our athletes are getting immediate care and quality care that will allow them to be able to return to the field and return to competition as soon as it is safe and as soon as they are ready to do so. Holy Cross, specifically where I'm at, and the Providence, Southern California region are very much backing this program to a point where we are very, very excited. And we have two of our trainers who are going to be joining us, and they're going to be leaving here and immediately going out and sweating on the field. So we're glad to have the air conditioning. Thank you, KHTS. I will go in order of first name alphabetically. Of course, they both start with C, so now I have to use my LA Unified School District English to be able to figure this one out. So, Christina Gallo.
Hi.
Hello. So welcome to Providence, and welcome to KHTS.
Thank you.
Now, you are an athletic trainer, but there had to have been an impetus that led you to go in that direction. Tell us that story.
Yes, certainly. So for me, like a lot of people, I grew up playing sports, and I actually grew up out here in the Santa Clarita area. And I injured my knee playing soccer as a teenager. So what do? When you do that, you complain to your mom. My mom took me to the doctor, and my doctor basically looked at me, did an x-ray, did a couple tests, and she said, your knees are horrible for a 15-year-old, and if you don't stop playing sports, you're going to need to get knee replacements by the time you're 25. And that obviously terrified me because I was a teenager, and I thought, that's so close. I'm almost like 10 years, I'm going to be 25. What am I going to do? So I kind of stopped playing sports, but I love being active. And we didn't have an athletic trainer. We didn't have that at my school. I didn't really know that there was kind of a way around your injuries, and there was a way to continue playing. So I ended up going to college at College of the Canyons, so community college out here. And I ended up taking athletic training classes just because it sounded interesting. I wasn't exactly sure what it entailed. And I'm sitting there, and Sarah Ersom, who's one of the athletic trainers there, and she's amazing. She also teaches the classes, and she basically told me, she's like, I love my job because you can kind of work around athletic problems and you can keep people on the field. And I was like, wait a minute, why don't more people know about this? So the high school kids, especially, in this area, we hadn't really had that. And so for me, it was really cool to say, hang on, we can provide that educational piece to families, and we can keep people out there playing on the field. So that's kind of how I got started.
Right. So you finished with COC. You got the bug, all right, and then
Yes.
Then what next?
So after that, I kind of started looking at athletic training as a job, as a career, and I came across Cal State Northridge. So they actually have an athletic training program. So I applied to the program. I got into the program, and you're basically in what you can liken to a medical residency for athletic training. So you take athletic training classes, you go to clinical rotations. So from there, my clinical rotations, I worked at Moore Park College, I worked at St. Francis High School, I worked at Alamany High School, I worked at Cal State Northridge, and you're working with all these different athletes. And from there, I was able to work at the NCAA level with women's volleyball and women's rowing, and now I'm at Providence.
Right on.
Happy to be here.
Well, that's fantastic, and that seems to be the story, right? It usually, I didn't know about physical therapy until I actually had to receive physical therapy, and I thought,
Absolutely.
well, this is kind of cool. I could totally do this. So, and it flourishes, especially when there's a passion behind it, which is great, and Providence is glad to be able to have you. And I believe you're going to be deployed to the Burbank area, one of the local high schools there, so that's going to be that. But now we have our another gentleman here with us now, Cory Springer. All right, so Cory, hi.
Hello, thank you, Providence and KHTS for having me on.
Perfect. Now similar story.
Very quiet. So in high school, I participated in football and then as baseball as well. After high school, I really wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon and hopefully hired for a professional football team. And so I applied to Cal State Northridge as a bio major, pre-med. Got accepted, was a bio major pre-med for 3 years. Decided this is not the route for me. Still want to be close to medicine, sports, and just happened very coincidentally that Cal State Northridge had a athletic training program there. After my 3.5 years of being bio major, I applied to the program, was accepted in the program, being there for 2 years, doing my 4 rotations at Cal State Northridge at their D1 athletics. After that, I was at Pasadena City College. Then I was at College of the Canyons. And then after that, I was at St. Francis High School. And that's when I really, really enjoyed working at the high school level, and I knew where I wanted to work at.
Yeah, there is definitely a difference from level to level when working, and there seems to be, not to slight any of the other levels, but at high school level, you really do seem to have an effect, right? I mean,
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
Oh,
You're
definitely.
more of an impact. Like I said before, you're educating. I have kids who don't know how to talk about their pain. I have kids who've never been injured before, who don't know how to talk to a doctor. And you have kids that are going from being adolescents to graduating and becoming an adult, and they don't know how to tell a doctor what's wrong with them. And you have parents that maybe they don't have a doctor. So you're kind of helping their families get set up into that healthcare system.
And schools who don't really know how to even implement an athletic training program.
Yeah, so with that, it all goes down to being receptive to accepting care. People that, and I feel like the programs that really succeed, their athletes really accept the care, and those that really don't are very standoffish about that.
Right.
And I feel like accepting care is the first step.
You have to really want it and understand that it's acceptable, and we do find that on occasion, you rub some dirt on and go back out there and play. That attitude is one that kind of pushes athletes away from the athletic trainer, and we're trying to change that because we're trying to allow those athletes to be able to continue doing for a longer period of time. I know we're getting ready for break right now, so you're joining us here on the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour. We've got Cory, Christina, 2 athletic trainers within our sports medicine athletic training program, and we will be back shortly.
I just want to send a shout out to all my customers. It's Dave Reeves from Reeves Complete Auto Center in Canyon Country.
Reeves, Santa Clarita's choice for quality customer and automotive care.
I've been in automotive service my whole life. I learned customer service and honest communication make the difference.
Reeves, where customers matter.
I really appreciate your business and hope to serve you in the future. Thank you very much.
Reeves, on Ruther in Canyon Country.
Hey, this is Ellen Kay, and did you know Exer More Than Urgent Care is open daily in Stevenson Ranch? Exer is the ER alternative that's built and staffed by ER doctors. With on-site lab, x-ray, and pharmacy, Exer has more medical services than a typical clinic. Walk in and be seen in minutes. Open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. For more information, just go to exerurgentcare.com. That's EXER urgentcare.com.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weider Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weider Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weider Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit weiderprime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Doctor, give me the news. I've got a bad case of loving you.
And good Good afternoon, Santa Clarita. You're joining us here on the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour. Welcome back. We just came back from a break. Here, it's about 90-something degrees out there. Please be sure that you're hydrating. For those of you who are going to be exercising, let's wait until the cooler hours of the day if it's at all possible. Make sure you're wearing loose-fitting clothing. Try to make sure you stay hydrated and really watch out for those pets too. Though we take care of humans over at Holy Cross, the fact of the matter is our little pals. If we can't walk barefoot on the ground, chances are they can't either. So we need to make sure that we're taking good care of our dogs and our animals too. So make sure you keep everyone hydrated, stay cool. Keep cool there, Santa Clarita, and continue listening to KHTS and joining us for the Holy Cross Health Hour. We're joined today by two of our athletic trainers, part of our community athletic training program that is in its inaugural year. So darned excited to be able to get this going because we are going to be working with 6 schools, and then after the first year, we'll be adding at least 4 more schools, and then continuing to grow as the need continues to grow. And part of that with Holy Cross is we have our niche geography that we work with, which includes Santa Clarita Valley. And so somewhere in the near future, we would love to be able to expand ourselves even into the Santa Clarita Valley to be able to address or assist with any need that the school systems might have. So thank you again, you guys. They're in training garb. You can see on Facebook Live. Wave at the camera there. So Christina and Cory were taking time out of their extremely busy schedules to be able to come in and just kind of go over athletic training in and itself. And, it's not just for football. No, right? In fact, the number one sport for concussions is
soccer.
And it's female soccer.
Women's soccer.
So women's soccer. So, and concussions is such a big deal right now to a point where it's big enough that California actually put laws in place, and CIF has actually made those rules even more stringent. Can you go over what we're looking at as far as the concussion rules, so to speak?
So when an athlete is in any sport, hopefully before any participation, they perform a baseline test, either with SCAT-5, BEST test, or impact, or any sorts of that. So during participation, if they suffer concussion-like symptoms such as headache, dizziness, vomiting, and so forth, they are seen by either if they don't have an athletic trainer or coach, AD, and hopefully a physician. So once the initial saying, hey, this athlete may be presented by a concussion-like symptoms, they are out for 24 hours no matter what. After that, they have to be seen by a physician who is, I wouldn't say concussion specialist, but has, has treated concussions before.
Yeah, training that can for recognition and follow through. Sure.
So during that, the physician may say, no, this athlete did not suffer a concussion, or they have. So when going through they go through a 9-step process, starting with they must be symptom-free for 2 days. So during those 2 days, they cannot have any symptom at all. Also, that goes with return to learn. They may be limited on, say, more time for taking tests, more time for homework, more time if they start having symptoms, may go to the nurse's office and a low dim place to relax.
So what you're saying is, so not only are we going to remove them from play, so we don't want to further the injury or further the concussion. We don't want them to suffer further concussions, but we're also going to give them brain rest in essence. We're going to try to decrease the amount of stress on the brain because the brain has to recover similar to sometimes how our muscles have to recover.
That is correct. Yes.
Right. Okay, so we've eliminated their return to learn. So we've decreased their return to learn. We've eliminated some of the return to play, and then we've got multiple steps. Now, do they have to be clear for with each step? What they have to be clear before they can move on?
So they have to
every
be 24 hours symptom free before they can move on. Yes.
Okay, and then the whole process, the minimum it can take is what, about
seven days.
7 days, and then now, yeah, no, just jump right in, and then with those 7 days now. That doesn't mean they just can go back. then they have to be cleared by the physician.
So that is correct. So there's a minimum seeing the same physician twice. So once initial diagnosis, and then once to return to for contact if it's contact sport. Also as a recheck for after completing the increased exercise steps through the steps 1 through 5.
So this is, I think this is important because, you know, years ago it was just basically any physician can just sign off and say they're okay to play. It needs to be the physician who originally diagnosed the concussion originally.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so that allows for a little bit more consistency, and it's gonna, that type of consistency is gonna be safer for the athlete.
Yes.
Yes. And throughout the process, too, where they're monitoring them. So that's the great part about us being there is we can be at practice, and we can, the second that somebody's returning to play, and if they say that their symptoms start returning, they come and see us.
Right.
They don't have the pressure to go to a coach and say, oh, I don't feel well, because a lot of kids get kind of nervous to do that. So we're kind of that safe person to go to, and they can say, my headache's coming back. I feel dizzy again. And then we stop the process there, and we continue to monitor their symptoms, and then hopefully slow return to play. But the interesting thing that you touched on slightly, is concussions, you can't really grade them. So the way I explain it to my athletes, because concussions are just frustrating in general, is you can have a concussion, and let's say you have somebody that has very, very mild symptoms. Let's say they just have a mild headache. That's all that they feel. That can last a month. Theoretically, you could have somebody that gets totally knocked out, they're vomiting, and they can be back to play within a week and a half. And it really depends on the person's symptoms. So we can do our own testing, we do baseline testing, but a lot of it is about your relationship with the athlete, their ability to understand what their symptoms are, to report that to you, and to really be honest with you. So that's why that relationship's important.
And, you know, I think one of the common themes, we have a lot of our physicians stopping in and to the studio to join us on air, and one of the more common themes is they said patient care is actually pretty easy. Athlete care is pretty easy. It's caring for the family that can be actually the challenge. And so you guys, a lot of the times where your efforts sit is actually educating the parents.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And even, I think that I've mentioned this to you before, but with concussions, I tell parents it's my least favorite injury to deal with, because you have to go by the law, and it's very black and white, and it's not fun. Nobody wants to pull their kid out. Right. I don't want to pull your kid out, but it's just the safest thing, and it's what we have to do. Obviously it's a really popular topic now. It's a hot button issue, so the public is aware of it. That means that there's a lot of stuff on Google. That means that there's movies out on it, but there's still stuff that people don't know. There's still things where I get parents that give out ibuprofen to their kid, and you shouldn't do that. You should stick with Tylenol. So little things like that, those educational pieces, that's where we step in. That's where we're able to kind of provide that education for the family.
Perfect. And then you have tools that you can actually, there's instructions, things that you can actually hand out.
Yeah, so CIF has a whole sports medicine page, and through that page, it also contains concussion of what to suspect, what if your child has severe symptoms, to take them to the hospital. Also, they have like a grading sheet through symptoms, and then you really want to monitor your athlete's symptoms daily. And the main key thing of concussion is return to play as quickly as possible, but as safely as possible. And what we really want to prevent is secondary impact syndrome, which is having your child who has returned to play still having symptoms of a concussion, and then they suffer a second concussion, or making it worse and may having your child's brain swell, and it just gets worse from there.
It does, and that's one of the problems when you have continuous concussions that stack on top of each other without having the opportunity to clear, to a point where you do hear about it every once in a while, where they actually have to remove a piece of skull in order just to allow that swelling to occur, and then once they can get it under control and try to back down from there, in the hope there won't be any secondary issues. And so this concussion thing is real. The recognition of symptoms is real. I think our parents definitely need to know more, because one of the interesting facts with the Concussion Symposium that's created with local medical providers here in Santa Clarita and the San Fernando Valley, we had the opportunity to educate the community last fall or early winter. And one of the pieces that came up was that there were more concussions in non-athletes than athletes at a school. And so on average. And so that being the case, it really is up to the parents, our teachers, to really recognize those signs and symptoms of concussion, because it isn't just something that occurs with sports.
No, and even we see athletes at the school, but there are kids that come to our school that do club sports, and so we don't see them, and parents don't know. Another part of that, you want to talk about understanding symptoms, there's an emotional aspect that goes into it. You see emotional changes in a kid, and parents, if you hand them that concussion sheet that Cory was talking about, they talk about mood changes, if you feel angry. Parents are really shocked to see that. They're like, oh, that makes sense. He's been kind of a brat lately or whatever. It's really important that they understand that it's all encompassing. It's their brain. Right. I mean, it affects the way that they learn. That's a new thing that we're getting into as far as reaching out to teachers, reaching out to the school nurses, and making sure, okay, we don't want kids for their grades to suffer in the long term because they have this injury. And it's really hard to take a doctor's note that says, well, they can't play football until they're cleared by the protocol. Well, what does that mean for when they have a test? What does that mean for if they're in a classroom where they're only on computers? How is a teacher supposed to take that and interpret that? So that's kind of the new thing that we're looking at.
On an Xbox.
Yeah.
You know,
on Xbox, on their phone.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's when they say, you know, return to learn, or they're doing brain rest during those first couple of days, it's all brain rest. It's not just hanging out at home and playing.
Watching TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything
exactly.
like that.
So, you know, this concussion piece is extremely real. It's probably the piece that makes us as providers the most nervous on the fields. And so we appreciate the fact that the state of California and CIF has really stepped up to give us a little bit more clear guidelines on how to be able to handle and move forward from that, which I think takes a lot of that guesswork from years previous out of it, which is where I came from way back when. And that's going to make things a little bit easier on us, all things considered. You know, it's interesting, though, is that now you're just not game coverage. You're going to be actually at the school. You're full-time, more than full-time, it seems like, right? But you're going to be also delivering care. So theoretically, you're going to be able to do some of the rehab for those athletes that normally would have them pull away from school or out of school. Parents might have to take time away from work to be able to get them there, and you're alleviating a portion of that financial responsibility of co-payments and things like that. So you're going to be able to really affect the community itself, and that's one of the pieces where Providence was really looking at, was that how can we improve our community at large? And Christina, you'd mentioned it. We are being able to deliver care to people where we can actually really make a huge difference, and a huge difference for them moving forward, and being able to have a conversation, how to approach things, to know it's okay that they got hurt. Everybody gets hurt. How do I get it better so that I can go back to doing what I need to be able to do? And that, you guys are the experts. You're going to be able to allow that to occur, where you're going to be able to get people not only there, but also with recognition. We're going to be using a special software, Healthy Rosters, and that's going to give us the opportunity to not only watch, to be able to track our injuries, where are they in the process and such like that.
Communication with parents, communication with coaches.
And the athletic directors, the school nurse, we'll be able to have all our forms where we need to have everything. There's so many positives, but then we can run a report. Now, all of a sudden, sports medicine, one of the very first things, if you ever look up the definition of truly what is sports medicine, the word prevention shows up very early, all right? And in order to prevent, oftentimes we need to be able to recognize trends. Yes. What have you guys experienced with that?
Well, to kind of talk about prevention in general, my experience has been your lower levels, such as the high school, they tend to be more injury prone. So these are groups that are skeletally not developed. they are just learning maybe how to tackle, they're just learning different forms for whatever sports they want to do, they're trying out new sports. It's interesting because we're the last level that people think, oh, we need to put healthcare there. You have people at major league level, at the NCAA level, and obviously they have medical care, but we really have this whole group that they haven't had proper medical care. So we're able to kind of provide that. And being full-time, what we can see, being out at practice, maybe we can look at a kid and say, I don't really like his form when he's running. No wonder that your hip is hurting. I go out there and I see you run every day and your form is bad. Maybe they're not tackling correctly. So with the healthy roster, we can actually kind of track our injuries, look at those numbers. Why do all of our tennis players have wrist injuries? Maybe they have a weak rotator cuff. Why are we looking at the wrist? We should be looking at their rotator cuff. Let's put them on a prevention program. So that's something where I think it's really important that now that we're full-time, we can actually take a look at patients as a whole from a preventative standpoint. Everybody thinks an athletic trainer is somebody who just runs out on the field during like a football game, but really we can be out there all the time.
That's just the limelight time.
Exactly.
And I think at the high school level, as an athletic trainer, we take on much more many roles as is different to the higher levels. Like for example, like D1 level or even college level, they probably have a nutritionist. They probably have a strength and conditioning coach. They have other team physician or a area where they could just get MRIs if they need be, or especially at the professional level where everything's accessible, everything's right there and needed. And then at the professional level, there's probably 10 athletes to one athletic trainer, if that, to where we're 500, 700,
500, 1,000 to 1.
1,000 to...
You're running
athletes.
Back and forth between games.
Yeah, exactly. So as a high school athletic trainer, I think we take on many more roles, and I feel like that's as a high school athletic trainer, we really give back to like the community, to the high school, and then also give ease to the parents knowing that their child is being taken care of.
Correct. You know, it's funny, you know, we hear the word at the hospital a lot, especially in the emergency room. We call it triage, and where we're just basically, it means to sort. And so a lot of what we do and what you guys are going to be doing is you're going to be triaging a lot of these athletes. You're going to triage and looking at who needs the medical follow-up, who doesn't need the medical follow-up, who needs to have the communication with the parents, who needs to just basically do some light first aid, who needs to do wound checks and wound management, who's going to need to do their rehab, and how are they going to progress that rehab, and how are you going to test whether or not they're going to be able to get back out onto the field, all the while with making sure that everyone is properly braced or taped when they hit the field. It's juggling a lot of balls, really, right?
And all within like an hour before everyone has to be at practice,
Right.
and make sure water is out there, and make sure the temperature is okay to safe to practice.
Thank you.
Making sure there's no lightning in the area. A lot of environmental factors that we actually take care of that people don't understand.
And then, not to mention that, not only that, but in a lot of cases, you're going to get the phone call from the other school's athletic trainer who will be visiting because they're not going to be traveling, and you're going to have that ability to be able to also keep an eye on that group of kids as well, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So, and then vice versa, that gets reciprocated when your school will then travel to that school as well. And so, it's
if that
not
school has an athletic trainer.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll be solving those problems as the years go on to assure that every school has an athletic trainer. If we have the ability to do this over time, is making sure that every school has an athletic trainer, making sure that every athletic program is going to be appropriately cared for, and that way also we would have an amazing continuum that it's not just each school being a silo, but it's going to be a group of athletic trainers that will be supporting the community at large, and that standardized and consistent care will be able to be delivered regardless of where those athletes are. And what I would looking forward to, I know we're going to be going to a break soon, is then when those kids get up into the collegiate levels, perhaps, that they are already experienced in knowing how to use the athletic trainer and how to use the training room, that it makes our lives easier as providers when we see them at the collegiate level, that we know how to work with them, they know how to work with us, they know what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and it just allows for them to continue to progress as well. I know we're going to a break. I think, right now. Yes, indeed. You're joining us here on the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour on KHTS. You're with Cory, Christina. I'm Tom. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weider Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weider Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weider Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit weiderprime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220, your hometown station.
Doctor, give me the news. I've got a bad case of loving you.
And we are back. You're joining us here in the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour for the last few minutes. I am Tom Burton, the Orthopedic Program Manager and Director for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the Southern California region for Providence St. Joseph's Health, and the Orthopedic Program Manager at Providence Holy Cross, which I was born there, so why wouldn't I want to be there? And we've had a great conversation today with 2 of our athletic trainers for our community athletic training program, our inaugural season, first time out.
Yes.
Christina, we're going to find you on the fields over at John Burroughs High School.
That's right.
Cory, for the time being
at Notre Dame High School.
And then you're going to be instituting a new athletic training program where?
At Taft High School, Charter High School at Woodland Hills,
Fantastic.
LAUSD.
So we've got a little bit of help going to Burbank Unified School District, LA Unified School District, a couple of our faith-based schools, Alamany and Notre Dame, Sierra Canyon. A lot of our physicians have kids that go there, and they've requested if we would be there as well, which is wonderful. And then we'll be adding 4 more schools, I believe, is what the goal is for the following year. And then we're going to reassess and see where we're going to be growing to next. But hey, it's working up in Oregon and Washington right now, where we are actually the providers of care for the Timbers, for those of you who follow Major League Soccer. We also have a couple of WNBA teams, both up in Washington. I believe right now, because of our new program, I think that might push us over within Providence itself. Over 50 athletic trainers are employed and are being deployed out to high school level, major professional level, as well as club sports and youth programs. And so can't be any more excited.
That's so exciting.
That's wonderful.
Unbelievable. Now, there's going to be interest, okay? One of the things that, and it was one of the biggest pieces for me, was I had an athlete, when I was covering at Alamany a bunch of years back, one of the athletes said, I like what you do. How do I get to do what you do? And so we kept in communication and kind of helped step and kind of help foster that direction. And so hopefully he continues in that role. But I can imagine that you guys are going to be touching lives as well. And there's going to be a group of people who are going to look at this and go, I really dig what you guys do. So are you going to be fostering some of the sports medicine high school kids as well?
Yes.
Of course, yes. And then we definitely tell them how to become a certified athletic trainer. And then it all depends actually what year they probably graduate high school, because now going into 2022, I believe all athletic training programs will be master's level.
Right.
So all certified athletic trainers after 2020 that are graduating will have a master's level degree.
And that's, it's important because that extended degree really begs to the idea that the responsibilities that you're going to have on field in the treatment area, in the field offices when you're going to be treating and taking care of, you need to have those accelerated skills that it's going to allow you to deliver that care. And having that master's level and that additional education, that may add more tools to the toolbox.
Oh, yes.
Right. And like we talked about before, it's not just that's your glory hour to go out during a game and go treat somebody for their injuries, but it really is that prevention piece. It's walking the field before a game. It's going to practices. It's making sure everybody's physical is done properly. It's doing rehab. So it's emergency response. It's a lot of things that people don't really understand, don't really know unless maybe they've been educated. I didn't know what it was until I got to college and I took a class on it. So I think that the extended education going to master's is great.
I think it's the iceberg model of you see 10% of what we do, and then the 90% of what you don't see us do is definitely the scope of what we do.
Absolutely perfect analogy, and it's that duck on the water,
Yes.
always calm and collected, sitting on there, but your mind is moving a mile a minute inside, realizing all the things. Where do you, I just remember it's like where you position on the football field so that you can see the play evolve away from you, so that way you can see everything, so you're not missing stuff behind you, just your position.
Yes.
And knowing, so that way you can you can do the distracted look at 20 kids on the field at any one time, spreading away, and being able to see all 20 at the same time. It's amazing that you guys have that focus. So needless to say, by the time the day is over, you guys have definitely earned putting your feet up.
Well, thank you. It's nice to hear.
Absolutely. So I want to thank Christina Gallo and Cory
Thank
Springer,
you.
our two of our new athletic trainers with Providence Southern California region, and our inaugural community athletic training program. I appreciate you taking the time out. I hate to get you out of the air conditioning. We're going to head back out into the heat. We've got just a few minutes. I do want to remind everybody that if there's any interest in being able to come to our event tomorrow with the Providence and the SCV regarding our neonatal ICU and the efforts we're going to do to see how we're going to be able to assist in allowing that reality of those new beds to come to fruition, give Holy Cross Foundation a call, 818-496-4600. Let them know that you heard us online on the air today, and that you are interested in attending tomorrow, because you really are looking forward to seeing how you can help make a difference to Holy Cross, but also to every mom and dad and baby that comes into the hospital that is going to need a little bit of assistance. So, and with that too, make sure that you be a part of Providence in the SCV, where we meet on a monthly basis to see how we're going to be able to benefit Holy Cross as best as we can. KHTS has been a huge supporter for us, and it is with great pleasure to be able to come out to the show and do this every month, and I do appreciate KHTS's efforts in allowing this to actually occur. You're hanging out with us on 1220 AM, 98.1 FM. You've got the app on Android as well as your iPhone. There's no reason why you can't pick up a signal now. Thank you very much, KHTS. You're with Providence Holy Cross Health Hour. We will see you next month, third Wednesday, 12 o'clock. Take care.
You